Hi guys, this is going to be my final seedling update because all of these guys are going to be sold this weekend, and I'm really proud of how they're going, to be honest. I'm ready to say goodbye. So today I'm going to show you exactly how everything is growing 9 weeks after I sowed my first seeds. So 60 and a bit days after my first seeds went in. Some of them went in a little bit later. I've learned a few new lessons along the way. Overall, I'm really happy with how it's all going. I'm going to show you every one of them, all of my spring and summer seedlings, how they're growing, which ones haven't worked out so well. I'm also really excited about what's happening in my garden at the moment. So I'm also going to give you a really quick tour and just show you some of the things I've changed between now and my last garden update only less than 2 weeks ago. And I'll tell you about some exciting plans I have in the works. I haven't got a lot of time, so I'm going to do another bit of a rough and ready edit of this one. I'll just make it as quick as possible because I probably need to upload it today in an hour. So we'll see how that goes. But before we get started, if you're new here, I run full veggie garden tours at least every month here in Melbourne, Australia. Hit subscribe if you want to follow along. I want to start over here because I want to show you these beautiful donations that have come from garden lovers on Wattle Tree, an awesome local gardening shop. If you live anywhere in Melbourne Southeast, go and check them out to say thank you, because they have a beautiful array of flowers and edibles at the moment. So they've donated some zinnias, some lobelias. I need to learn a lot more about flowers, snapdragons, petunias, some gorgeous succulents, all sorts of things that will bring a beautiful pop of colour to gardens. They've also donated a whole lot of flower seeds, which is extremely kind. Big thanks to the Diggers Club too. They've donated some of these seed sowers, which are a lot of fun, and a whole lot of magnets, which would be lots of fun for kindy age kids. A big thank you too to Respectfully Melbourne. They're a local new company that's been started up by one of the mums at school selling gift boxes. So go and check out Respectfully Melbourne if you're in need of a present for someone you don't know what to get them. All right, let's show you how all these seedlings are growing. Where to start? I'll start over here. A whole lot of coriander and parsley. Really, really happy with how all that is growing. You could really easily just harvest that and start enjoying them now. So they're all in separate little punnets. I have done a couple of pre-orders, and coriander already is super popular. So I've only got 3 of those left. So who'd have thought I'd already be running out. Over here, fennel is looking quite nice. My cos lettuce is sort of almost big enough to harvest. That's a little trick that's come from my mother-in-law Mary. She said if you tie a really loose elastic band around them, not only are they easier to store, they don't shade all the other plants, but they also then tend to sort of bunch up a bit more in the middle and get that firmer middle. See if that works. This is a whole lot of basils and capsicums. Now you might have remembered that my basils didn't work, so I found one of those pots that were being sold with like I reckon 200 basil plants in there for $10. So I bought one of those and I've separated them all out because each single one will turn into a really nice basil plant, and as they were just going to get overcrowded. So I know everyone loves basil, which is why I've made sure we had basil in the mix. Over here, let's take a look at my watermelons. They are not as big as they were last year, probably because I've had them out in the greenhouse rather than permanently upstairs in the heat. The ones that I'm going to keep for myself, I think I'm actually going to keep upstairs in the heat and sunshine for a few more weeks until they're a bit bigger, just because they can take a really long time to grow. Capsicums are still pretty tiny, but they'll be fine in a few weeks' time and fine to sell. Over here, I think I've got, these are zucchinis. Some of my zucchinis, capsicums, and cucumbers and pumpkins all started getting little white spots on the leaves, which I was worried might have been a powdery mildew sort of thing. So I have actually used I don't like using any sprays on my plants, but I have actually used an organic fungicide on some of these just because I did not want to sell something that had any hint of powdery mildew or any other fungusy type of thing, because I wanted them to be perfect. So a few of them I've actually pulled the leaves off and put aside in a keep for myself and see if I can nurture into healthy plants, and I won't be selling them. The rest of them are here. And look, some of them are already getting flowers. That's a zucchini flower. If I was planting that for myself, I'd be taking those flowers off because that plant is not strong enough to grow a zucchini. So I would be taking all the flowers off and letting the plant focus on getting bigger and stronger until it's big enough to handle zucchini fruits, basically. Now, all these ones with slightly different tags on them were grown by my mother-in-law and father-in-law, aka Nonna and Pa. If you're familiar with this channel, you might have seen their garden tours before. They've got a beautiful garden. So a bunch of different types of beans here, climbing stringless beans and dwarf beans. Last year the beans grew really quickly, so I will be buying a couple of them myself to put in my garden. And they're tomatoes over here, so they've got Rouge de Mamans, big wrinkly tomatoes, red cherry tomatoes, and Tony's Whoppers. Tony is their neighbour who grew gigantic tomatoes last year, so they saved, I'm not sure if he saved the seeds or they did, but they're Tony's seeds. Well, let's stay on tomatoes for now. These ones are my ones. These are early Cascade tomatoes. They're all doing quite well. Some of them were starting to get slightly yellowy leaves, so I have given all of my veggies actually a good fertiliser, and I have noticed after fertilising the new leaves that come through are much darker, lovely green. These are sugar lump tomatoes over here, looking similar. Where are my best growing, oh, they might be upstairs. I have got some upstairs that I'll show you. My best growing tomatoes have been my Black Russians. I think I might have put them in a little bit earlier. So while we're over here, I've got sugar snap peas that are tiny because I only actually put those seeds in, I reckon, a week ago. Lucy's in the background if you can hear her. Over here. Oh, so yeah, you can see some of this leaf spots that I'm not sure if it's because they weren't hardened off before they went outside or if it's a fungal thing. So any of the ones with leaf spots, I'm just not going to be selling. But if you're familiar with what these are and you can diagnose that for me, let me know, because if that is just a issue from sort of being out in the cold before they were ready, please let me know and leave me a comment, because as I said, I won't be selling any that have white spots on them because I'm wanting to encourage as many people to grow as possible. There's another leaf that doesn't look very healthy. And I don't want to give them a dud plant. I don't want their first growing experience to be one that doesn't work because I've given them a dud plant. So in there we've got pumpkins and cucumbers, and I can hear Luce who's going to need some attention, so I'll press pause. Under here I've got some lettuces that I am thinking of selling. I've put them in quite a big pot and they're obviously quite well developed lettuces. I'm thinking of encouraging people who maybe want to just try something to buy a lettuce, because that can then stay in that pot and they can just stick it in a sunny spot, give it some water, and they literally don't have to do anything else in order to get some fresh lettuce leaves for their sandwiches or whatever it might be. Now most of the ones in here I am probably going to keep for myself. Glass gem corn, tomatoes, they're my Black Russian tomatoes, a couple I've already stuck in the dirt there, zucchinis. I am a little bit concerned, so that's a mini cucumber, but I am concerned about these leaves. So talk to me if you are familiar with these leaf spots. Is that a fungal disease or is that being exposed to cold weather before they're ready? Tell me. So some other things I'm keeping for my own garden, bunch of different tomato varieties, nasturtiums in there, more tomatoes, watermelon. They'll all be going in the ground pretty soon. Hey Chicky. Luce isn't playing ball today, so she's coming with us. She is meant to be asleep, aren't she? Yeah. She's meant to be asleep. Okay, let me take you over here. So my mint and oregano hasn't been particularly successful. I left it probably too late and I grabbed some mint roots, etc. from my own mint patch. These I think will be fabulous and very sellable in another 3 weeks time, but at the moment I don't know anyone who's going to buy those because they don't look luscious or lovely. My oregano over there again doesn't look amazing, so I'm not sure if I'm even going to bring them, because while they will work, they don't look like something you'd purchase. Could you stop touching my microphone, please, rascal? Before I take you upstairs, let me just show you a little bit about what's going on around here. This looks a bit of a junkyard at the moment, but it's a work in progress, I promise. It's exciting. There's a whole lot of coffee on the ground. That is a story for another day. But long story short, I thought I was ordering a bin full, as in a small recycling bin full of coffee from Reground. They're a fabulous social enterprise. I didn't read the fine print. I got 14 bins full. And so now I am on a mission to work out exactly, oh, there's a coffee pile over there, exactly what to do with crazy, crazy amounts of coffee and chaff. Good thing is I'm learning lots and there's going to be some great videos in that. So let me zoom back out again. Let me just show you quickly what's around here. Berry plant. I'm really excited about my berry plants. So I've started getting the first little flowers on there. I'm not sure if I can see any on that one, but let me take you over. Oh, I bought a new one too. So there's a couple of berry flower buds on that plant. And this one, getting my first flowers there. You can see that ugly looking bed down the back there. I've actually just bought some wooden framing and I'm going to turn that into a proper wooden raised garden bed. I'm going to finish weeding at the back here. I'm going to turn this back area into a little oasis. You've seen these ones before, so I won't dwell on that. Oof, excuse me. I've got a zucchini in there. I cover that on the cold nights with that plastic thing at the back. This bed is old news. This underneath the pots here, I've freshened up that soil, so I'm nearly ready to start planting in there. Oh, and here you can see the box that I am going to turn into my newest garden bed. Yay! Now this corner over here also looks like a bit of a junkyard at the moment, but I have exciting plans over here. I've decided I want to start up an anyone can corner. I want to start up a little tiny space of my garden where I grow things in recycled pots with homemade compost in a space that's no bigger than a veranda, so that people can basically learn from my garden and copy the things that I do, even if you've got no more than a tiny little space, whether that's in an apartment or whatever's going on. The birds have eaten that one, the cheeky things. So I've got lettuce growing up there in that pot, another lettuce growing there, and again these are all just recycled pots. So yes, let me know if you think that's a good idea. I'm just going to zoom out here a minute. This is going to be my anyone can corner. Tiny, tiny space, hopefully lots of produce, nothing fancy, nothing purchased, just things you can grow for nothing in tiny, tiny spaces. The reason I think this is important is because I've decided I am going to spend a whole lot of time fixing up the rest of my garden and making it look gorgeous. And I do sometimes invest in things for my garden too, but I don't want people to think you have to go out and buy things in order to have beautiful veggie gardens. So I've got a bunch of flowers here. I'm going to be planting them. I've already just planted these dahlias and I love them. My spring onion I've moved over there while the rest of this bed gets sorted out. I'm going to take you upstairs in a minute to show you what else is growing up there. Just a reminder, hit subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, and hitting like is just a little way to help the algorithm work out that my videos are worth watching. That'd be fabulous. Thanks. Okay, so the only reason these tomatoes are actually up here is because they are too tall for my greenhouse and it was going to be quite a cold night, so I didn't want to risk them getting frost damage overnight, and I just haven't taken them outside yet. But I do actually have the first signs of flower buds in some of these. which is super exciting because, as you will know if you've grown tomatoes before, the flowers are what become the fruit. It's tricky to see in there, but they're doing really well. So I've got more basil. These are some of my cucumbers that I had to pull all the leaves off because they just looked diseased. So I'm going to see if I can nurse them back to health. Some fresh lettuce I put in there for myself. Some watermelons that were looking a bit sad, and I'm going to try and nurse them back to health. I've also got some zinnias down the back there. These are all things I planted more recently. And my chilies are tiny, so I've tried to keep them in here to grow them a bit bigger, but I don't think I will be selling them. I've got some exciting things happening in the next week or two. I'm heading to Geelong this weekend to go and see an amazing garden, which I can't wait to check out. If you want to see it, stay tuned. You can either hit subscribe or you can add your email address to my distribution list and I will send you an email when it's been uploaded. That's in that description. Also in the description, you'll find things like a link to my grow light, which I love, a link to my greenhouse outside, some of my other favourite products. Oh, and a quick zoom into my gatherer hydroponic pots. Look how good that tomato is going. It is by far my biggest tomato. Those pots were gifted. I'll also put a link to the gatherer website if you want to give hydroponic growing a go. Oh, check that one out too. That is a mini cucumber in, again, the hydroponic gatherer pot at the back there, which is growing beautifully. Sorry for the dodgy quality. I really just have to be as quick as possible.